All right, Loki is done, and before I talk about it, I want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Bespoke. Bespoke's a monthly membership club that delivers boxes with top shelf goods from under the radar brands. They have a variety of boxes, a cornucopia of options, and every box has $70 of value in it, but only costs you $45. And you get a preview of what your monthly box is going to be, and you can 1, choose to keep it, 2, change it out for another box, or 3, just skip that month entirely and don't get a box, in which you won't get charged for that. Only get what you're gonna use. I appreciate the fact that they understand that. Last time they sent me the fillet box. These have become my go-to kitchen knives. I use these knives all the time. This month they sent me the turbo box, which is code for they loaded me up on coffee. I'm not complaining. I'm from Seattle. We just call this part of a well-balanced breakfast. I mean, how do you think I have this energy in my videos? Only half of it's hopes and dreams. The other half, coffee. So click the link below, enter promo code JOHNS20 at checkout, get yourself 20% off your first box. And thank you once again to Bespoke for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. All right, now we end the Loki Odyssey. Well, kind of. Well, spoiler alert. I'm getting ahead of myself. Gonna be spoilers talking about the Loki finale because that's how I like to get down when I talk about episodes of shows. Also not gonna be a play-by-play as always, just things I found interesting. Just realized that I have paint. I don't know if you can see the Warhammer paint on my hand. Been painting Warhammer miniatures. Always wash your hands before you press play to do a YouTube video, which I did not do. Also, special thank you to Squidmar and all that helpful information you gave me in your YouTube videos. Okay, but Loki, right. So the finale of Loki is pretty much that scene in The Matrix Reloaded where Neo goes to talk to the architects. Only instead of Neo, it's Loki and Sylvie. And if the architect traded in his thesaurus for that social media generation energy, it's kind of like that. He's pretty much like, dude, I'm really old. I've lived a very long time. And there was a time when realities would exchange information and technology for the betterment of all the realities. And then boom, multi-reality super war happens. So this whole TVA thing that I came up with, that is the only way that doesn't happen. Which is pretty much a strange thought. Like, what's gonna happen? What realities are gonna get wiped out? That's what the TVA does anyway. Either trillions die or trillions just don't get to exist. We're going semantics here. He's pretty much like, you kill me, you flush all that down the toilet, and Sylvie says what Sylvie says, which is, you're a liar, I don't believe you. Loki and Sylvie get into a bit of a tussle, then they share the most awkward kiss in the MCU? Possibly. Then Sylvie pushes Loki through the quantum leap door back to the TVA world, kills this guy, dude's like, I'll see you soon, and he dies. You see all the realities branches. Pretty much that's the episode in a nutshell. But the strong points in this show, definitely Mobius and Loki, Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. They always were in the show, they always remain so in the show. They weren't always together, and when they weren't together, I wished they were together on screen together. How many times can I string that word together and say together? I don't know. We're gonna find out together. That was borderline dad joke. I'm sorry. That's just called setup. So later on when I talk about, things that didn't really stick the landing for me in the show, you guys can go, but he did crack a dad joke. It makes sense. When this show had them working as agents in that buddy cop kind of dynamic, I loved it. Also, some things that were interesting concepts were those things that even though I saw them coming, I was still interested. You know, I like that hook. Example, the TVA. Granted, there was someone behind the whole thing. I thought maybe it might just be nothing. I thought maybe they'd just dogmatically be following these rules because someone told them to do it and someone told them to do it before that. It's like that button in Lost. It's like, you got to push the button in season 2 of Lost. Though that also ended up being for a reason, but I was most interested in that concept in Lost and here where it's like, maybe nothing will happen. Maybe it's just because someone told us something. It's always been fascinating to me. Will people do stuff because they just kind of heard that should be the way? The answer is yes, but the show didn't go there, that's fine. But I do like the fact that the TVA, there is a flip where it's like, they're kind of the bad guys. The concept of Sylvie is actually really interesting. This other Loki from this other reality who's just gonna burn the system to the ground. Again, that struggle between concept and execution. The concept of this lady who's been pursued by the TVA all her life is an interesting concept. Completely eclipsed by the fact that she feels like she was conjured to be some Loki romance that I just didn't buy as a romance between the two of them. I buy the concept that they're war buddies, they're working together to get this thing done, but while they friend zone each other, because it feels like that happened. Granted, half of that is also on the other side of it. I don't buy Loki's redemption in a week and a half or however long this show goes on for. I get that he saw a sizzle reel of his eventual neck snapping at the hands of Thanos and his death, thus his life is a complete joke. It's a complete waste of time. But I feel like, he's been the god of mischief for a very long time, many of our lifetimes. I feel like he'd be like, yeah, but that was that reality. I can do it better now that I know that that's where it's gonna end. You'll see. I'll be the true god of mischief. But no, he's just kind of reformed on a snap. Week and a half ago, he's all like,
I won't touch Barton, not until I make him kill you. Slowly, intimately, in every way he knows you fear. And then he'll wake just long enough to see his good work. And when he screams, I'll split his skull. This is my bargain, you mewling quim.
Week and a half later, oh, you look cold. Here, borrow my blanket. Let me warm you. I'm concerned. But I do feel like this show could have been a movie. You know, this could have been an MCU movie titled Loki. As seen with the fact that there were at least 2 episodic filler episodes that didn't have to be their own episode. One, the Grimace episode. I call it the Grimace episode because it's big, purple, and generally speaking, useless. The other one being the one where after Loki gets pruned, he goes to that world where the big smoke monster from Lost is gonna eat him. This episode's one of those episodes you can point to and be like, that's what I'm talking about when I say there were parts of this show that felt like they just wasted our time for the sake of having a lot of Easter eggs and references. And that's it. That's the reason. Oh, there were a lot of Lokis. That could be cool, but they didn't do anything. They were just there so they could have a really interesting looking Loki in the thumbnails of some of the videos. You didn't need any of the Lokis except old Loki. You didn't need Kid Loki, Alligator Loki, Election Loki, his entourage of other Lokis. But moments like that keep the machine turning. It keeps the chatter happening. It's like the old adage, all press is good press. And by press, I mean Twitter conversations, tweets, and YouTube videos. That's what gets it happening. Oh, all these Lokis, what are they gonna do? I'll make a YouTube video about it. You see the Thanos copter in the background. Oh, Frog Thor, and that gets the tweets, that gets the YouTube videos about all the Easter eggs in that episode because that's where the chatter comes from. But that was a pretty sweet reveal when Loki goes to Mobius, when he's back in the TVA, and he's like, okay, we just killed the guy, and now things are gonna happen. And Mobius is like, who are you? And why are you telling me this? And they look out and you see that Kang the Conqueror statue. Pretty sweet reveal, though the entire time they were going to kill whoever was behind this. They were going to release the timeline from the grip of whoever had it because Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was happening. How crazy would that have been? Would have been one of the GOAT moves of any studio ever of all time. If in the whole Phase 4 reveal, instead of having Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness revealed, it was Doctor Strange and something else. Just give it some fake title, some other title. Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, whatever you want to call it. Then at the end of Loki, after the timeline is fractured, after it's released from this grip, post-credit scene, it has that bullshit Doctor Strange title of Sorcerer Supreme or whatever, and it just shifts around. It's like Multiverse of Madness. And that's the reveal. It's like, oh no, this Doctor Strange movie's actually called the Multiverse of Madness. Fooled you. Would have been a pretty sweet move. Also would have kept the suspense going a little more in the show Loki. Also would have been mad props if they could have kept that under wraps in this social media age. And I'm looking forward to seeing this badass version of Kang. That is a different kind of reveal in terms of the MCU, where it's like you show the character, but it's this weird character, and then it's like, okay, now you're gonna see that character later, but he's gonna be business and he's here to wreck some shit, I guess. That's like first meeting Thanos, but he's a circus clown at some kid's birthday party or something. And then, oh, by the way, other reality Thanos and, you know, that guy. That could be some really sweet payoffs. Looking forward to seeing that. So in the end, Loki, I mean, ups and downs. All the MCU shows have had ups and downs. Loki's no different, but I do think they overplayed the hand of references for the sake of references and Easter eggs for the sake of Easter eggs. Like having episodes just completely built around them, feeling like it kind of wasted time. Loki in his own show never has a moment where I'm like, oh, that was his moment. It's just, the show just kind of happened and he was in it, which I think is wasteful because he's one of the more interesting characters in the whole of the MCU. I've enjoyed Loki fine, though I've had some gripes. I know people don't like to see gripes. They want to see me gush about the Marvel stuff. I totally get it. But, you know, you gotta be honest. You gotta be true to yourself. Possibly unpopular opinion, and I'm only 7 episodes in, but so far, I think Superman and Lois is better. And I don't even mean that in terms of Marvel versus DC kind of capacity. I say in the capacity of character development and character story and Easter eggs and references that can be in there, but they don't supersede that character development and character story. So those are my thoughts on the show Loki, season 1 anyway, because as it said at the end of this show, there's going to be a season 2. So Loki, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.